All around us, there's this secret language. It's a visual grammar that humanity has used for thousands and thousands of years to encode its deepest ideas about the universe and our place in it. The wild part is, it's hidden in plain sight, just waiting for us to decode it. And our journey into this lost language, well, it starts with something you'd never expect.
Take a simple apple. We all know the story of Adam and Eve, right? Well, that wasn't just any piece of fruit. If you slice an apple crosswise, horizontally, you reveal a perfect five-pointed star, a pentagram, formed by the seeds. Now, that was no accident. To the ancients, it was a symbol of the divine feminine and the union of opposites, a key to a whole different kind of knowledge.
And you've got to understand, these symbols aren't just some quaint pictures from the past. They are a lost language. They're like a lexicon for humanity's earliest and most profound philosophies. Think of them as repositories of our collective knowledge, holding entire worldviews within just a single image. And the scope of this language is just vast. It ranges from symbols many of us know, like the Irish clattering, the one representing love, loyalty, and friendship, all the way to the more esoteric stuff, like the chaos wheel. That's a more modern magical symbol that represents the idea of infinite possibilities just radiating out from a single point.
And this language is absolutely global. Take a look at the Celtic Triskele with its 3 interlocking spirals. It just screams perpetual motion, right? The cycles of life, death, and rebirth. And then look over at the Zen Buddhist Enzo, which is just a simple, hand-drawn circle. They look totally different, but it conveys a really similar sense of eternity, the void, and that moment of enlightenment. We're talking 2 cultures, worlds apart, using simple geometry to try and touch the infinite.
And that, right there, leads us to a crucial point. So many of these symbols, from wildly different cultures, are actually encoding the exact same fundamental concepts about the universe. It's like they're all whispering the same ancient secret. As above, so below.
This idea is just brilliantly illustrated by the Seal of Solomon, which you might also know as the Star of David. It's so simple. It's just 2 interlocking triangles. The upward-pointing triangle, that's the universal symbol for fire, for spirit, for the heavens. And the downward-pointing one represents water, matter, the earth. So when they're perfectly joined, you get this amazing visual equation for the cosmos, the spiritual world perfectly reflected in the material world.
This language can also be incredibly specific. In some Wiccan traditions, for example, there are 2 very distinct knives. You've got the Athame, with its black handle and straight blade. It's purely symbolic. It represents the element of fire and is used to direct energy, but, and this is key, it never physically cuts anything. For that, a witch uses a baleen, a white-handled knife with a crescent blade, which is used for the very practical job of harvesting herbs. It's a perfect separation of the symbolic from the functional. And then there are some symbols that are so universal they almost seem to be hardwired into our collective consciousness. I'm talking about the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. It first shows up in ancient Egypt around 1600 BC. But get this, it also appears in Norse myth as Jormungandr, the world serpent, and in Hindu myth. It's this primal symbol of eternity, self-renewal, and the cyclical nature of everything. It's an idea our ancestors clearly thought was way too important to forget.
Okay, to really understand the power of a symbolic system, let's do a bit of a deep dive into one of the most potent and frankly misunderstood of them all, the runes of the ancient Germanic peoples. Right, this is the crucial point you have to get about runes. They were never just letters. They were not invented for writing down grocery lists. They were born as magical ideographs, with each and every symbol representing a cosmic force or a principle. The fact that they were later adapted into a phonetic alphabet was really secondary to their primary esoteric purpose. Let's just look at a couple of examples so you see what I mean. The rune Tiwaz, it's shaped like an upward arrow. It doesn't just stand for the letter T. No, it embodies cosmic law and justice, and it's named for the sky god Tyr. Or how about algaes? It looks kind of like a branching tree or maybe a person with their arms outstretched. It's a powerful stave of protection, symbolizing the link between our world and the world of the gods. You see, each rune is a key to a universal concept. Now, you really can't talk about runes without addressing their corruption. In the 20th century, the Nazis systematically co-opted ancient Germanic symbolism. They took these powerful, holy signs and infused them with totally non-Germanic, totalitarian ideologies for manipulative purposes. They twisted their original meanings to serve a truly hateful agenda.
And this raises a really profound question. When a symbol is perverted like that, is its original power lost forever? Or does that ancient meaning simply go dormant, just waiting for a new generation to come along and rediscover it, to reclaim it?
And that brings us to our final revelation. Because what if all these symbols, from the core of the apple to the seal of Solomon to the runes, what if they aren't telling thousands of different stories? What if they're all telling one single universal story? A story that's been hidden in plain sight all along. Okay, here it is. This is the master key to this whole lost language. The ancient myths are not history. The stories of gods and heroes, of great floods and wars in heaven, they were never meant to be taken as a literal record of things that happened. They are allegories. They are a symbolic map for the journey of consciousness itself. This journey seems to have 4 distinct stages. First, you have the descent. A divine spark of consciousness falls or descends into the material world. Second is incarnation. It becomes enmeshed in a physical body, a state the ancients symbolically called death or the underworld. Then comes the third stage, the struggle. Here on earth, the soul battles the limitations and passions of the body, and it learns the lessons of matter. And finally, the fourth stage, resurrection. Having learned its lessons, the soul achieves a spiritual rebirth and begins its ascent back to its source. This idea, once you know how to look for it, it echoes everywhere. This quote from the Gospel of John, it's not just a clever turn of phrase. It's a precise esoteric statement. The descent into matter is the necessary prerequisite for the eventual ascent back into spirit. You have to go down to go up. This is where the ancients just completely flip our modern perspective, because what we call life, they called death for the soul. The underworld, Amenta in Egypt, Hades in Greece, that was not some fiery pit you went to after you died. It was here. It was this physical world, this state of being entombed in a body of flesh. And here is the ultimate paradox. This tomb of the body, this death in the material world, it's not a punishment. It is the crucible of transformation. It is the necessary womb for the soul's rebirth into a higher, more complete state of consciousness. The whole ordeal of physical life is the very mechanism of its own divinization. So if the ancient wisdom is true, then this isn't just a collection of old stories. It's our story. We're all living a chapter in this grand cosmic narrative of descent and return, which, it leaves only one question. Which chapter are you living right now?